I'm Suruchi Das and you're watching Rhythm. Clothing that covers the bodies of Muslim women, including burqas, niqabs, hijabs, and abayas, has frequently been a topic of heated debates worldwide. Some regions enforce strict Islamic dress codes, while others impose bans on such attire. Recently, Switzerland became the latest European nation to prohibit Muslim women from wearing burqas and niqabs in public spaces and private buildings accessible to the public. Violating this burqa ban law now results in a fine of 1,000 Swiss francs, equivalent to approximately 94,000 rupees. This decision has sparked significant criticism from Muslim organizations in Switzerland and also triggered reactions from Islamic leaders in India. In Switzerland, Muslims account for about 5% of the population, mainly originating from Turkey, Bosnia, and Kosovo. However, in India, where Muslims are native citizens, conservative views on women's freedom and attire remain prominent. It is essential to note that the Swiss government defends its ban by stating that criminals have increasingly exploited burqas for illicit purposes. Human rights organization Amnesty International condemned the ban, calling it dangerous and arguing that it violates women's rights, freedom of expression, and religious liberties. Ironically, Amnesty's stance, which claims to uphold human rights, appears to reflect a narrow perspective regarding women's autonomy. The controversy extends beyond Switzerland to conservative voices within India. Dr. Moinuddin Ghazi, National Secretary of Jamaat-e-Islami Hind, criticized the Swiss law, asserting only a woman has the right to choose what she wears. Yet, one must question why predominantly male authorities continue to dictate women's attire. In Iran, women are fighting for freedom from compulsory veiling, with many defying hijab mandates despite severe consequences. In November, a student publicly disrobed in protest against hijab enforcement, and Mahsa Amini's tragic death highlighted the oppressive nature of such laws. Similarly, Professor Iqtidar Muhammad Khan, head of the Department of Islamic Studies at Jamia Millia Islamia, referenced the Quran, stating that it mentions modesty twice, advising women to cover body parts that provoke sexual desire. He interprets this as a directive for women to shield themselves from male gaze using a chadar. Such statements reinforce the idea that the burden of preserving religious values lies solely on women. Elsewhere, countries like Afghanistan impose far more severe restrictions, where women are prohibited from speaking loudly, let alone appearing uncovered in public. If the argument for choice belongs to women, why is there silence about Taliban's brutal enforcement? Why is there a lack of solidarity for Iranian women demanding basic freedoms? Under the guise of religion, women are being systematically oppressed, revealing the double standards that persist in many societies.